In this video, we got another episode of this series where I rate and improve your guys' teams. You guys will send me your teams on Twitter at X7Tanaka. I'll put out a tweet maybe once a week asking for squads, and then you guys will reply to that tweet with your team and how much MT you guys have, and you could possibly could be featured in one of these videos. That's what these people did to be in the video. So I'll go over your squad, tell you guys my best suggestions to help improve your squad, and then also give you guys a rating out of 10. Also, if you guys want to comment down below your team down below on the YouTube comment section, let me know what your squad's looking like right now and how much MT you guys have, and I'll try to get to as many comments as possible and give you guys my best suggestions to help improve your guys' team. But looking at the first squad here of the video is going to come in from No Money Spent Expert. He's got about, I think, 560,000 MT. He says he's got a No Money Spent team, pulled Jalen Green out of my challenge pack, and is open to sell him since he isn't that good. Yeah, so I would definitely sell Jalen Green. I think he's only around 80,000 MT. I could be wrong though. Looking at your squad for the rating out of 10, I would probably give this team a solid 8 out of 10. It's not a bad team, but it's also not like super amazing with the top cards in the game. So I would say 8 is pretty fair of a rating for this type of squad. For me in the suggestions, first thing you want to do is probably get Jalen Rose for that backup point guard position. I do think Jalen Rose is a lot better than Sengun. For your 2 shooting guards, I do like Luol Deng, but I would bring him off the bench and then go after a card like Ricky Davis for your starting shooting guard position. And then for your starting 3 and your backup 3, I might get rid of Cedric Maxwell and Giannis and go for Hero Scalabrine. I think he's such a good card, and you can basically sell Jalen Green for about 80k and then buy back Scalabrine for about 75k, and that's going to be about the same, price range there. So yeah, I would get Scalabrine for your starting small forward position, and then you could go Cedric Maxwell off the bench if you wanted to, because he's a really fun point guard or a really fun small forward to use. But I would actually go for an AK-47. I'd play him as your backup 3. So your first 3 cards would be Hero Turkoglu, Jalen Rose, Ricky Davis, Luol Deng, Hero Scalabrine, AK-47, and then off the bench at the backup 4, what I would do is move Tyson Chandler to the backup 5, get rid of Mark Eden, and then for your backup 4, I would get the Galaxy Opal Hero Thurl Bailey. He's only about 40,000 MT, and he'll be a great backup power forward. And then what I would do is probably just go ahead and get Taco Fall for your starting power forward position, and then leave Hakeem Olajuwon at the center spot, because Taco's only about 150,000 MT right now on Xbox, maybe a little bit more, but you can definitely afford Taco, and he'll be an amazing starting power forward next to your Dark Matter Hakeem. But looking at the next squad here, coming in from Snipes on YouTube, he says No Money Spent 227k, just bought Dirk for 176,000 and wondering if I should replace Glenn Rice. So Dirk, I do think is really good. I like Dirk at the power forward position, especially next to a center like Peter Gudmundsson. I would 100% sell Glenn Rice. Whether you want to get a cheaper guy like maybe a Luol Deng, you want to go for a Michael Redd, a Jared Wallace, a Richard Jefferson, I think all of those guys are great options. So what I would do is I would go for RJ. I think RJ is really good. The Galaxy Opal Richard Jefferson or Luol Deng. Actually, for this type of squad, you probably want Luol Deng because of his defense, and you already have great offensive cards with Dirk, Brian Scalabrine, and Sean Livingston. So I would get Luol Deng, 6'9" at the 2, does have a 7-foot wingspan, plays elite level defense at that shooting guard position. So I'd play him over Glenn Rice. And then other than that, I really don't think you need too many suggestions. Like, you got Marcus Gasol, Peter, I think both are elite level centers. You got Dirk, Hakeem, really good power forwards. I mean, you can maybe try to improve Sean Livingston and possibly go get like a Ron Artest if you wanted to, but honestly, I think your squad's perfectly fine, especially if you do like Sean Livingston. So I would just get Luol Deng to play over Glenn Rice, and the rating out of 10 before the upgrades or before the Luol Deng suggestion, I would say like maybe 8.5 to a 9 out of 10. Looking at the next squad here, coming in from Hugo, he's got about 100,000 MT on current gen, and he does play on PS4. So looking at his squad, I would say 8.5 to 9 once again. I would give this squad a 9 possibly, because you got Terry Dishinger, you got Scalabrine, you got Taco. What I would do is just look for a better defensive tall point guard over Gilbert Arenas, because you already got so much offense with Terry Dishinger, with Scalabrine, and even Taco Sabonis can score the ball because they're giants, and Taco's really good offensively at mashing. So I would look for a tall defensive point guard, even if that's like a Ben Simmons, right? Like an Opal Ben Simmons, he could be your perfect card to play at the point guard position. I think Jalen Rose would also also be a great option, maybe even a Sengun. Just look for a defensive tall point guard to play over Gilbert Arenas. Other than that, I'd possibly go ahead and get AK-47 to play over Scottie Pippen. I do think he's a decent amount better. And then if you can save up for like a Pink Diamond Peter, or just go ahead and get Tyson Chandler, I do think he's a little bit better than a Hero Mo Bamba, but I think Hero Mo Bamba is perfectly fine for that backup 5. Just go ahead and look for that tall defensive point guard to play over Gilbert Arenas. But looking at the next squad here, coming in from Young Savage, he's got 2.6 million MT and could definitely use a bunch of upgrades to his squad. Not a bad team. Like, I would say another 8 to 8.5. I mean, you got Yao Ming, you got Skylar Breen, you got Thurl Bailey, you got a lot of cards that will stay on this squad. I would say like it's a solid 8.5 out of 10 team. What I would do for your squad is I like your point guard, like I like Jalen Rose. I would go ahead, I mean, you have 2.6. It really depends how much you want to spend of the 2.6. I'll give you some good upgrades, but I'm not going to go ahead and spend all of it. So Dark Matter, Ron Artest, I would get for the point guard position. Have him and Jalen Rose as your 2 point guards. For your shooting guard position, I would go ahead and get Vince Carter and go ahead and get Ricky Davis. Going to be elite level offensive shooting guards. That's your shooting guard and point guard position filled. You know, Skylar Breeny, I love him at the starting small forward position. He can stay there. And then for the backup 3, if you want to get Big Z for some height, you definitely can, or you can just go for a Galaxy Opal AK-47, a really good 2-way small forward for only about 40,000 MT. For your power forward position, definitely get Taco Fall to come off the bench. I think Taco and Marc Gasol is a really good backcourt pairing. In the front court, a really good backup front court pairing, you know, with Taco at the backup 4 with Jonathan Isaac, and then Marc Gasol can stay at the 5. And if you just want to do those upgrades, I think you're perfectly fine. You don't even need to do much else than those upgrades. And once you do that, I think your squad easily becomes a 9 or a 9.5 out of 10. Looking at the next squad here, coming in from Jason, he's got about 90,000 MT to work with, and another decent team, like I would say another 9 or 8.5 to maybe 9 out of 10. Just a solid all-around team. Nothing too crazy about it. Doesn't have like top tier cards besides like Steve Smith, you know, Thurl Bailey, but all around just a good team. I'd say probably 8.5 out of 10. For your upgrades with about 90,000, I would go ahead and look for Marc Gasol to play your starting center position. I like Thurl Bailey. Jonathan Bender's pretty good at the 4. I like your 2 small forwards, I like your 2 shooting guards, and I like your point guard. So honestly, I think I would go ahead and get Hedo Turkoglu and Marc Gasol, and then I would start Hedo Turkoglu, the hero one, start him over Sean Livingston, bring Livingston off the bench, and then just get Marc Gasol to play over Sabonis. And I think that's all you really need for your suggestions. All around a pretty decent budget squad. Looking at the next team here, coming in from Floweezy, he sold Tim and got Bender as the backup 4, and he's got 225,000 MT. So I assume he's starting Hakeem next to Yao Ming, and then he's got Jonathan Bender off the bench at the backup 4. So looking at this squad, I do think you need a big upgrade to your backup 1, 2, and 3. I think that's probably the biggest need of improvement. So I would go ahead and get Hero Skylar Breeny. Once again, only about 70 to 80k, and that's extremely good value for a card of Skylar Breeny's level for his hero card. So I would start him over AK and then bring AK off the bench. For your backup 2, Ricky Davis is an option, only about 35-40k. You could also go ahead and get a Richard Jefferson, a Luol Deng. Those cards are pretty good. Jared Wallace, Michael Redd. You can kind of decide what shooting guard you like the most. And then for the backup point guard position, I would go either Jalen Rose or go Hedo Turkoglu as his hero version. So those are kind of just like my base upgrades. If you want to go ahead and get Taco, I think that could also be a pretty big upgrade to play at that backup 4 alongside the Kembe. That could be really cheesy, but I would just get cards like Hero Skylar Breeny, Ricky Davis or Luol Deng could be an option. I go get Jalen Rose or Hedo Turkoglu to play your backup point guard position. But looking at the last squad here of the video, guys, does come in from MK, and he's got about 580,000 MT to work with. A really good squad though. I mean, he's got Tracy McGrady, he's got Taco, he's got the Kembe, Thurl Bailey, Hero Turkoglu. Like, this is easily a 9 to 9.5. Galaxy Opal Yi does drop the rating a little bit because he's an okay power forward, just really not that great. So that's the first thing you definitely want to do, is go ahead and get a better backup center, because I'd move Hakeem to the backup 4 and then just go ahead and get a Marc Gasol, a Brook Lopez, a Pink Diamond Peter, even a Hero Sabonis if that's what you like more, or even go out and get that big upgrade and go ahead and get an Opal Yao. But I would just get Marc Gasol, Pink Diamond Peter, or Dark Matter Brook Lopez to play at your backup 5, and then have Hakeem at your backup 4. And then after that, you might have around, what, 500,000 MT left, I would go ahead and probably get Dark Matter Ron Artest. I think he's a pretty big upgrade, you know, over the Opal Ben Simmons, and he only goes for about 200 to 250k at the most, and he can start next to Tracy McGrady, and that'll be a really good backcourt. And then you can bring Hugo Turkoglu off the bench to pair alongside Ricky Davis and AK-47. So that's what I would do personally for your squad. And yeah, guys, that's going to be another episode of this series where I rate and improve your guys' team. Like I said earlier, let me know your guys' squad and MT amount down below in the YouTube comment section, and I'll try to get to as many squads as possible and tell you guys what I would do to give you guys my best suggestions. But hopefully you guys did enjoy, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.